No Other Choice is directed by Park Chan-wook, written by Park Chan-wook, Lee Kyoung-mi, Don McKellar, and Jahye Lee, based upon the novel The Axe by Donald E. Westlake, and stars Lee Byung-hun and Son Ye-jin. After being laid off and humiliated by a ruthless job market, a veteran paper mill manager descends into violence in a desperate bid to reclaim his dignity. This movie is one that I was anticipating very heavily, just from the fact it was a new Park Chan-wook movie. You know, I've only seen 3 of his movies, but he's quickly become an all-time favorite for me, and someone who I think is maybe the most innovative director working today. And a lot of that innovation was in decision to leave, and that was one of the things I really loved about this movie. So going into No Other Choice, I was hoping for more of that. Add on to that the synopsis, which I absolutely love, and the early reaction out of Cannes. I was very, very excited for this movie, to the point that I caught it at a film festival 2.5 months ago, and I still loved it, but it was kind of a softer love. I think my anticipation got in the way a little bit. So with the movie going wide last week, I decided to go and see it a second time, and boy oh boy, this movie really came into focus for me on the second watch. This is one of my favorite movies of the year, if not my favorite. I could see this becoming an all-time favorite movie for me. There is so much in this movie I love. I kind of love everything about it. I think it's really spectacular. And I think there's no better place to start than with Park Chan-wook himself. This guy is just an absolute master with the camera. He comes up with new things every movie that are just mind-blowing and so cool, and are never overindulgent. They're never just being a cool shot to be a cool shot. He's always got a purpose behind it. Just all these incredible shots that no one has ever thought of before, and Park just throws them in there, and you're just like, oh, okay. And that same innovation stretches to the way he edits his movies, and more specifically, the cross-dissolves he creates. I've never seen cross-dissolves used in the way that he uses them. You know, you'll often see cross-dissolves that are just kind of generally like, these 2 images are connected. There's a relation here. But Park, frames the 2 shots in a way that when they're dissolved over each other, they create an image itself. And I love this movie, man, and I love Park Chan-wook. He is just an absolute joy, and that stretches to the writing, and that is something I love about him, is he is this incredibly formally and visually innovative director, but he's not too self-serious. He definitely, takes his movies very seriously, but there's still some fun to be had with them, and that is so true of this movie. This movie is very, very funny. There's just a great humor riding all throughout it. A lot of it comes from the Lee Byung-hun performance, which I will talk about. But a lot of it is in the script too, you know. He just finds him and 3 other writers of this movie, and I'm sure some of the original novel. There is this great basis there to just bring a lot of comedy out of it. And that was something that I was very caught off guard by the first time. And going into this watch, I anticipated the comedy a lot more. But in that, knowing about the comedy a lot more, the sadness of this movie became a lot more apparent to me. One of the big themes of this movie is the idea of masculinity and being a man and having value to your family, and those things being completely tied to your job. So we see in this movie when Man-soo, Lee Byung-hun's character, loses his job, he's instantly freaking out. Meanwhile, his wife is saying, okay, look, we've got to cut back on these things. I'm going to pick up a part-time job. We're just going to work this out. She's just trying to keep things going. But Lee Byung-hun has this masculine idea in his head of, well, I have to provide for my family. And if I don't provide for my family, my wife is going to sleep with the hot young dentist she's working with now. And she's going to leave me and my kids are going to hate me. And that's what's so interesting about this movie, is that in Man-soo's pursuit to keep his family together by getting this job in the extreme circumstances he pursues it with, he actually divides his family apart more. And so I think that's something that Park is really, really interested in, is sort of this over-dedication to your work, tying your value completely to your work, and that is what drives Man-soo down this path in the movie. And Park is also very interested in AI in this movie. AI figures very prominently in kind of the last stretch of this movie. I don't want to explain exactly how, but Park kind of positions it as this thing that's it's always going to be waiting there. You can do what you do, you can do all these other things to try and prevent it, but it's going to be waiting there, and there's only so much you can do. And I think the profession in this movie being papermen ties very directly to AI, and there's just a lot of interesting stuff coming from that. And again, more sadness in just seeing the way these other men are going about their lives, the other men that Man-soo pursues throughout the movie, the way that they are responding to the same circumstances, and the different variations, the way these men are so different and yet so similar. They all have this inherent love and respect for paper. But, we see the first guy is just drinking and being sad and rotting. But the second guy is like, he's gotten this job as a shoe salesman. He's being active. He's, being really nice to his daughter. All these things. And I think it all contrasts brilliantly to what Man-soo is doing, and specifically how that is being shown through the Lee Byung-hun performance. If it were up to me, let me tell it, God damn it, I love this movie. Lee Byung-hun would be sweeping Best Actor. He would be winning every single award. This is a, absolute masterpiece performance. He is just so interesting to watch all the way through, and so funny. The slapstick in this performance is, unbelievable. The way he moves his body, his face... his facial reactions, the way he reacts to things, his changes in voice, the way he, responds to his toothaches, this performance brings me a ton of joy, if you can't tell from the way I'm talking right now. This is my favorite performance of the year, easily. I think Lee Byung-hun is just so insanely brilliant in this movie. He has all these incredible abilities within him that Park knows exactly how to use. They worked together 25 years ago on Joint Security Area, and they're back here. And I just can't believe how excellent Lee Byung-hun is, and the fact that he is doing this absolutely deranged stuff, his character, the way he is trying to get this job through, seeking to kill these other applicants. And yet, there's this, likability and root for fullness that I just can't let go of throughout the movie. The performance reflects him as more like a really desperate man who's really dumb and couldn't come up with any other idea of how to do this, as opposed to, a psychopath. And I think that's a really interesting portrayal of this character and what this character is doing. And I think that ties very directly into the title, No Other Choice. And that phrase is uttered maybe a half dozen times throughout this movie by different characters, and in every situation there's always many other more viable choices. And so I think you're seeing Man-soo, the character, has just convinced himself that he has to do this and that there's no other choice. And it's just it's a really interesting character. Lee Byung-hun is just absolutely brilliant in this movie. I could talk about it forever. And he has an incredible scene partner in Ye-jin, who plays his wife, the much more pragmatic, realistic of the two. And this is not just a wife role. This character has a lot more to them that is very slowly revealed throughout the movie, and I really loved seeing. I don't think I've ever seen Ye-jin before, but I found her absolutely magnetic, and her chemistry with Lee Byung-hun, and just her look and her physicality and the way she carries herself, it all plays into the character really, really well. And she is just a joy to watch. And the rest of the ensemble is great too. You've just got a lot of great performances. The other men that he's after, their kids. It's just a really excellent ensemble where you can tell everyone knows exactly what they're supposed to be doing. And it just makes the movie all the better for it. Man, I think that's all I can say in this review right now. I think that's all I should say. This is a movie I want to talk about and could talk about for hours. It delights me endlessly, this movie. I think it's so brilliant in every way. There's quite literally no problems I have with it. Like I say, I love what Park is up to. The directing is unbelievable. The visual style, the cinematography, the editing, the cross dissolves. The writing of this movie is so brilliant, so funny, and yet so sad and very interesting, and really exploring this idea. And then the performances are all just really brilliant, with Ye-jin as an excellent second fiddle, and Lee Byung-hun just giving an absolute titanic performance One of my favorite performances of all time, I think. Like genuinely. The more I think about it, the more I love it. There's no exception I have with this movie. I would absolutely 1000% recommend you see No Other Choice. And in a first for this channel, I am giving this movie 5 stars. I have no issues with this movie, and that was largely pushed by that rewatch, but yeah, this movie opened wide last week. If you have a chance to go see it, please, please, please go see No Other Choice. It is unbelievably brilliant. Thank you to everyone involved with this movie, and thank you so much for watching. Goodbye!